right back with Fed Radio correspondent Joel Shot, live from the Soviet Union. Remember that number for you to call is area code 213-744-1717. There's no waiting. Call and the computer will begin to take your comments. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with John Nesbitt, Harold Willen, and a discussion of some of the stickier issues on the arms race amongst us here. A live report from the Soviet Union.
Ну, как объяснить? Слева от первого танка подворочен. Да.
We're going to have a long talk afterwards. Let's talk about this after the program.
How to improve ourselves?
We're coming on now. First and then back again.
It's half an hour past. Explain to people what to do, John.
You do. Well, no, we don't. It's okay. I want to just focus. I got to go on now.
Первые 30 минут мы решили посвятить широким разговорам. И в сущности, мы говорим про советское, за туристское ездение, да? За огромное количество лет это звучит все равно, что это как черт знает что. Поэтому они вынуждены, нам скучно. Мы говорим, что страна способна заслышать. Что же это? Первые 30 минут они начинаются, грубо говоря, реклама советского союза. Да, видите, люди прекрасно, несколько чистых дней, да. Замечательно, но это действительно, они не удивились, что дальше происходит. Там видели какие вещи есть. Это такая, ну, сказать, подготовка. Мы хотели сразу не делать, я и так видел это, но средние американцы это знают, в эфир прямо, сотни тысяч есть. Вот, так что вроде бы... Да, несколько минут будет, и вот Андрей говорит, на радио.
This is Moscow News is sponsoring this.
Yeah.
I'll say that, because he didn't say it.
You didn't say it.
Chuck didn't say it, I'll say it. I want to...
Well, it's not necessary, because it sounds like it's not necessary.
Okay.
Эфир идет, сейчас на студии звонят.
Here in this beautiful living room, which is covered wall to wall with icons, and to my astonishment saw Jane Fonda doing her exercise tape. So East-West relations sometimes take interesting turns. Let me briefly tell you what's happened since the August 5th Global Town meeting. Many positive messages arrived to Moscow by cable, telex, phone, and in person from the United States, encouraging more such exchanges. I interviewed Sergei Kapitsa, the Soviet Academy of Sciences editor-in-chief of the Russian version of Scientific American magazine, which is published here for the last year and a half every month, who was very supportive of continued radio exchanges like this. Favorable articles about the August 5th Global Town meetings have been circulating in Moscow, principally the one done by Leading Edge Bulletin out of Los-Angeles, and a transcript of that broadcast was translated into Russian and has had widespread distribution, particularly in the scientific community. People such as academician Rauschenbach, who was responsible for photographing the dark side of the moon, Evgeny Evtушenko, the vice president of the Academy of Sciences of the USSR. So there's been a lot of mounting interest here about this level of exchange, and I'm pleased to tell you that I have some major news to report. I flew to Moscow on Friday with a small computer, a microcomputer from the US, which has telecommunications features. That is, we can plug it into a telephone and connect with computers around the world. Just before leaving San Francisco, I telexed the Academy of Sciences in Moscow to ask permission to begin experiments with Soviet phone lines to begin to investigate the possibility of linking major scientific centers in the Soviet Union and the United States for purposes of exchange, collaborative research, and so forth. And to my delight, I can report that while in flight to Moscow, a telex arrived in San Francisco addressed to me from Mr. Dobroselsky, who is the chairman of the Foreign Department of the Academy of Sciences of the USSR, inviting official tests and discussions to begin in mid-January, just a month from now, to explore these I should say, revolutionary implications of this new kind of communication which can link people together in ever faster and more complete ways. I think it's a major breakthrough, at least in principle, and as we begin to move into this electronic universe here on the planet, we'll find probably that friendship and collaborative projects will occur at a faster pace than ever before imagined. So to me this is extremely interesting information, and I'm very pleased that we have the possibility of actually adapting microelectronics as a new way to explore much improved types of people-to-people and professional communication. Now, I have with me an interesting woman, a physician here in Moscow, Ayna Ambrumova, who is, as it turns out, the director of the Suicide Emergency Center here in Moscow. And as it turns out, she has a colleague in Los Angeles, Nорманом Фарбероу, who is her counterpart, director of the Suicide Prevention Center in LA. And our reason for wanting these two people to talk, first they know each other, they work together as colleagues, and we thought that it was an interesting symbolic parallel between using telephones to work with emergency situations of life and death with individuals, and the use of the telephone on the global town meeting to discuss planetary suicide implications of runaway nuclear arms race. And at this point, I would like to put Dr. Ambrumova on the phone. She will speak in Russian, and we will have translation for you in English by one of her colleagues, and she will then speak with, I'm assuming, Nорманом Фарбероу, who I understand is online in Los Angeles. Dr. Ambrumova.
Алло? 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 Норма?
Go ahead.
Алло? Алло, Норма? Норма? Дорогой Норман, как вы поживаете? Я рада нашей встрече с вами в эфире. Как Перл поживает? Как дети?
Dear Norman, I'm glad to meet with you on the phone. How do you do? How is your wife Pearl? How are the children?
I'm delighted to hear from you. Everyone here is well. It's an opportunity that's unparalleled, and I'm eager to hear how things are going with you, both personally and professionally in your work.
Алло? Наш телефон доверия работает, имеет очень большой успех в Москве, огромная обращаемость и большая помощь людям с соответствующими отзывами. Я выделила сейчас новые типы психологических реакций, типологию которых вышли вам вместе с нашим последним сборником.
We are doing here a great work on our Moscow hotline service with helping people in the state of crisis. Recently, I have described a various type of suicidal psychological reaction in the healthy people. I'll send our book to you tomorrow with my letter. I am very interested about your opinion of my typology.
I will be very pleased to receive it. I would like to ask you a question about the suicidal situation in Russia and in Moscow especially. We here in the United States and in Los Angeles have been experiencing a very marked and unfortunate increase in the rate of suicide among adolescents and young people. This has become not only a nationwide kind of phenomenon, but also one that we have heard is present in a number of other countries throughout the world, especially in Europe. Can you tell me whether or not this kind of rise in the suicide rate for the young has appeared also in the young of Moscow?
You're listening to
50 до 30 и после 40 вышел инволюции. Собственно, так же, как по вашим данным мы имеем сведения, такие же совпадают с международным положением.
Norman, we have two peaks in suicidal rates here in 20-30 years and in involutional period. But we are doing here a great work with helping these people. And we have great problem of loneliness, the problem of our century.
Norman, this is Chuck Alton in Los Angeles. Can you hear me? I wonder if you could tell our audience briefly exactly what has it been like to be able to work with people in the Soviet Union? It's so far removed from the reality of most of us. Could you shed a little light on that experience for us?
Opportunity that noticed that when Professor Ambrumova was able to come to the United States along with the colleagues and spend time at the center of serving our centuries when our techniques were. This enabled her, as I understand it, to introduce some of get her own clinic back in Moscow. And of course we were very pleased then at the possibility of the continued collaboration with the evidence. We have continued to exchange information and collaborated with further I feel that this type of collaboration, especially in this area, because it's a rather difficult area for space and has been one of the most important, especially in the industrial.
Thank you very much. Also on the line is Mr. Rasselom Targom in San Francisco, a renowned paranormal psychologist and researcher. And Mr. Targom, are you there?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Very good. I wonder if you may have a friend of yours in the Soviet Union, Joel Shotz, will introduce in just a moment. I wonder if you might briefly describe for us a very recent and extraordinary experiment that took place between the United States and the Soviet Union.
October of this year, my daughter Liza and I were in Moscow to carry out long-distance experiments in remote area. This is a psychic ability that I've been investigating for a dozen years, where a person sits in their living room and is taught to experience and describe what's going on and what it looks like at this location. This work being done at Stanford Research Institute for the past 10 years. We found that a great number of people are able to learn through remote viewing to describe distant places psychically. And we were very interested to come to the Soviet Union, do a cooperative experiment with Soviet citizens who could learn to describe what was going on in California to allow us to see what the 10,000-mile distance separating the two countries would interfere with the communication or interfere with the psychic perception over that great distance.
And what was the result?
The result, the experiment that we carried out with Joseph in Moscow, was very clear that the distance separating the two countries in no way interfered with perception of the hiding place of our partner, California. We did two experiments with her, which were videotaped in Moscow, and in both cases she described remarkably accurately what Harari was doing and where he was at the time.
Well, let's meet Juna. Joel Shotz, would you introduce her to the audience and the attendees of the Global Town Meeting?
It's my great pleasure, Chuck, and she's sitting right here, and she will be speaking in Russian with translation simultaneous.
Алло, здравствуйте, Расу.
Здравствуйте, Джуна.
Ой, Лиза, здравствуйте.
Я очень вам благодарна, что вы позвонили и что эксперимент был хороший. Я думаю, что этот эксперимент, как вы считаете, послужит ли на дальнейшую нашу большую работу для нас совместной дружбы между Советским Союзом и Америкой. И для всего земного шара. Я не знаю, как ты ответишь, Элизабет.
Okay, the translation is as follows. I'm very glad to be speaking to you, and I'm very glad that the experiment went successfully between the Soviet Union and the United States.
You should know also that the second experiment was just as successful as the first. That's very, very exciting news, and of course it's a science that's very, very new to many people, and we watch these kinds of experiments with a great deal of interest. And now, Joel, if you'll introduce the next subject.
Chuck, as you recall, and many of the people listening will recall, on August 5th, Joseph Gольдin, who is a scriptwriter and space bridge coordinator here in Moscow, proposed a rather enormous planetary project for introducing the planetary population to itself, which he calls Mirror for Humanity. It involves setting large video screens in major city centers. He's hoping to do this by Hiroshima Day, 1985. That will enable millions of people to witness the sunrise around the world as an alternative to the nuclear winter. Once in place, these screens could be used to exchange enormous diversity of information live on a daily basis in large city centers. It's what Joseph calls the project to create humanity as a communications system. I'd like to introduce Joseph at this time.
Hello, Chuck.
Hello, Joseph.
You know, so many friends on the line. I just heard Russell and Elizabeth, and we made an experiment in precisely this place a month and a half ago. And also I heard that Nормanom Meyler expected to be on the line, and Evgeniem Evtушенко is sitting opposite waiting for him to be in contact. But I want to
Talk about that in just a moment and talk about the Mirror for Humanity, because our time is very brief and I've got some more friends of yours that we'd like to introduce who would like to help you with the Mirror for Humanity. First of all, congratulations on your recent acceptance in your country of this project and the support that you've received, based in part on the fact that this project was announced on the first Global Town meeting, but based mostly on your perseverance, your tenacity, and your vision. And you're to be congratulated for this, because this project is assisting to bring more and more people together in both of our countries. I'd like to bring on the line right now to people who have expressed a tremendous amount of interest in working with you, people that you know. The gentleman who was involved in establishing the US Festival link with the USSR just a few short years ago from San Bernardino, California. Richard Lucas, are you there? Yes, I'm here. And you sound loud and clear. Say hello to Joseph Gольdin. Hi, Joseph.
Hi, Rick. I've sent a letter to you recently.
And before you get into conversation about this, I'd also like to bring on the line a person whose music we were playing earlier, and we'll play more of, more renowned composers and musicians of our time, Mr. Paul Winter. Are you there, Paul?
I'm here.
Paul Winter and Richard Lucas. Paul, say hello to Joseph.
Hi, Joseph. How are you?
Hi, Paul. I'm glad to hear from you, and Evtушенko is smiling to me because he is talking to you next.
Great. We'd like to do with this period of time that we have, and we will be given an opportunity to talk more about the Mirror for Humanity before we leave, but we wanted to join together as communicators, Joseph, people who work in the communications industry as Paul does and as Richard does. We would like to express our support for your project, the Mirror for Humanity, which we feel is technologically achievable, so it will take time.
Yes.
I'd like to give both of my future colleagues in this project an opportunity to speak very briefly to you about their dedication to making sure that the Mirror for Humanity becomes a reality. Richard, you first.
Great.
Well, Joseph, hello.
Hello.
Since we've spoken last, 1983, I've been involved in developing more links, different countries, and now I'm working with the People's Republic of China to the first interactive satellite link with them. And I would like to express to you my desire to
something?
Yeah.
Look, I'm really excited that my friends are so interested, but I want to say something down to earth practical. You know, Diamond Vision screens, which United People in Us Festival will Rick Lucas coordinated 2 years ago with us here, produced by Diamond Vision Incorporated. And it's enormous large video screens, produced without a real purpose, because it's too expensive to advertise something like goods or even events. It's happened that the most interesting thing we can use such incredibly large video screens, $2 million each, is to look at each other's from different continents. And if we'll include people from China, from Moscow, from America, from Australia, just to experience each other. This is precisely what for these screens can be used most effectively. That's why idea came to me. Why don't we unite all those people with a network of screens which already exist everywhere? And we need just a powerful man like Ted Turner, who will become a new Oppenheimer, for instance, in this challenging project to make it happen. It can be done within 2 weeks.
We're going to have an opportunity to talk to Ted Turner in just a few moments and a few other guests who are on the line. In the meantime, we will come back and talk to you about the Mirror for Humanity, which is a very exciting project. And we must keep in mind that your vision to place these Diamond Vision screens around the world and to create the technology that will make it possible to see the sunrise from wherever it is around the world, and to give us all an opportunity to, as Ted Turner says, to see each other as we really are, is a project that will take some time. And what you're hearing tonight is the first step of our support in the United States, our anxiousness to work with you and to take it on a step-by-step basis and do it in a professional way, which is, I know, the only way that you would like to see it done. And so we'll come back and talk about the Mirror for Humanity later. And I would like to thank Richard Lucas and Paul Winter and our other guests in the first portion of our program here, joining together to prove conclusively that there's exciting evidence of cooperation and good workmanship between the United States and the Soviet Union. We have to take a break, and we'll be back in just a moment on the Earth Radio Network. You're listening to the second Global Town Meeting. It's live.
Hey, that was you. You really did it.
I did it because it's really narrow.
You did it. That's funny as hell. Now let's see what Mr. Big does.
Yeah, well, Mr. Big will do it.
You have
But Evtушенко will the next, I hope so. I already twice sold him. So what do? Okay.
Keep your voice low if it's possible.
Джон, скажи, что телеграмму прислали, они обещали, был эксперимент.
Хорошо, скажу. Алло. А, Наташа, привет. Ты на рабочем телефоне оказалась?
Не хочу. Why did he do it? Are you familiar with Ted Turner?
What's happening now?
They're on kind of commercial break.
What they announced?
No, it's not commercials. It's not commercials. It's phone numbers for people to call in to the radio station. There are no commercials on this program. It's being listened to by maybe 10 million people.
From regular folks and from the gentleman who makes it his life to help create peace in the world, about how we can bring the United States and the Soviet Union closer together. Have tonight evidence that it's already happening. Listening to the second Global Town Meeting. Back in 2 minutes is Harold Willen, John Nesbitt, Ted Turner, and many others on the second Global Town Meeting.
The next, maybe we should translate. The next group of people are business people. John Nesbitt, the author of Megatrends, which is a hugely popular book. Harold Willens is a millionaire who is devoting his whole life now to moving to an economy based on peaceful activity.
Natasha is talking to me on the telephone line. It's an incredible amount of people calling from all over America. Computer is twinkling with the lights. All America is calling them up on the computer to be recorded.
Who would believe it?
Алло. Я пойду к Евтушенко. Спасибо. Этери ждет в кабине переводить Евтушенко.
There are a couple of questions that arise from time to time, particularly in the circles that take the issue of nuclear non-proliferation and the end to the arms race, etc., etc. The two major questions have to deal with conflict resolution and economic conversion. And these are subjects that we will be dealing with in concert with the Soviet Union throughout the town meeting, beginning on February 10th, when the global town meeting becomes a monthly program and a monthly gathering to exchange ideas and progress reports. In the meantime, look for your ideas. Your ideas that could very well come together as part of a data and information bank will help support the people who work daily to help create the better global scenario. To submit your ideas, your comments, and your questions, call area code 213-744-1717 from anywhere in the United States. 213-744-1717. To leave a 30-second message, which will be compiled by computers and provide us with a sense of what the American people and those from outside of the United States have to offer in terms of their most profound questions, their most profound ideas, perhaps even the essence of their vision of a better world, only given the relationship between the United States and Japan. So if you have ideas about that, call 213-744-1717. Be heard. Well, the two questions we spoke of earlier, dealing with conflict resolution and economic conversion. The first question that we'll discuss tonight is economic conversion. And Carol, I think that one of the things that you learned when you were in the Soviet Union was that while we're all looking for a way to end the arms race, it's a very sticky question here. It has to do with the economic system and how there is so much conflict in the arms race. So people are looking for ways to make that conversion. Who wants to speak to that?
Yes, in my informal talks, especially with the scientists, we agree that conversion is one focus industry.
Алло.
Нет, это уже разряды идут. Главное, ты подключаешь.
Cooperative list of things that should be done, and I'll read this list very quickly. For example, satellite monitoring,
Атмосферные.
a long-range engineering project to eliminate existing space debris and minimize future buildup. International service for defense of the Earth from accidental impact with large astronomical bodies. In a recent discussion with one of the scientists, he said, imagine what would happen if a meteor was exploded not over the vast central Siberia, but over more populated regions such as the east coast of the U.S. A certain sample, unmanned returns from Venus. Manned missions to Mars for sample returns. Sample returns from comets and asteroids. Moon mining, asteroid mining. Moon mining based on the moon as well. A joint shuttle Salyut program that would enhance search and rescue missions. Research on the feasibility of deployment into deep space or storage in space. Radioactive waste products.
They're two totally independent telephones,
Сейчас будет.
and they both have the same problem.
Нет, там это оттуда зависит.
Как
Фонарь, уличный фонарь по-английски.
Какой?
Уличный фонарь.
Street light.
Street light, фонарь, да? Точно? Фонарь или лампа? Фонарь, все стоит. Хорошо. Staying on the metal stick or something like that, you know what I mean?
Street light.
Street light.
You can call up from here.
Well, let me give you a number here. The first number at the bottom of the page, the top number, that's the control room at the Los Angeles studio.
Вот туда.
Someone would be one of the bullets, okay, but the same kind of someone should be one of the shell pieces, how would call it?
Shrapnel.
Осколок?
Exploding metal.
Минуту-две раз разговаривал, оттуда.
So it means piece of shell.
Piece of metal from a grenade or from a shell.
It could be that, or it could be small pieces of metal packed.
Вы знаете, нам звонят из Лос-Анджелеса. У нас практически разговор редакционный на частной квартире. И вдруг прервалась связь. В чем дело? Не можете ничем помочь, да? Значит, нам нужно от них ждать сигналов. А вы не можете узнать, что произошло на линии?
Скажи, или срочно, как он сказал, связать с одним телефоном.
Срочно заказать.
Срочно закажите снова.
А вы можете нам срочно туда заказать? Угу. Сколько времени это отнимет?
Скажи, что это важно, они в течение минуты связаны.
Хорошо. Just. The only compensation is as following. Within a couple of hours we should start working to be on the space bridge on the 40th Tuesday. And then,
Как называется ваша тут самая контора? Нет, скажите. У вас есть служба такая, люди могут звонить. Значит, например, если у меня плохое настроение.
Можете позвонить по телефону. Видите, тут предназначена, в общем, это служба
Для
академическая.
плохого человека. Для плохого состояния, да?
Да,
А
это
какой
не
номер?
просто так
Какой
позвонить.
номер? Я хочу позвонить. А, у меня плохое настроение.
Какой номер? 200?
250, 20, 49.
один номер.
Один номер, но там 5 каналов.
Слушай, у нас нет портфеля.
Да нет, самое.
Там я не положила.
У кого-нибудь
Я дала
пиши, у меня есть.
Ну, мы
Так,
получаем все время письма.
У Айны Григорьевны возьмите
значит, служба как она
визитку.
называется?
Евгений Александрович, возьмите визитку Айны Григорьевны.
Союзный.
Да, нет, вы мне дайте вот этот телефон, по нему можно позвонить. Да,
50,
да,
2 номера.
да. И все, да? А часто люди не по делу номер?
Нет, никаких хулиганских звонков нет и не по делу нет.
Просто мало кто знает, вы же не объявляете, простите меня. А как вы
Объявляем. Широко.
Объявляете?
Я вам скажу, у нас в Совет, просто еще Москва очень
Это такая
большая.
помощь по телефону, так сказать,
Это
да?
помощь по телефону. Да.
А сколько человек там дежурит? Сколько мы одновременно
Вообще у нас
делаем?
работает 25 человек, а в него
Как это называется вообще?
это телефон доверия, составная часть.
Как он называется?
Телефон доверия. Название учреждения. С большой буквы телефон.
Телефон
С большой буквы доверия.
Скажите, пожалуйста, а кто за это, так сказать, вообще отвечает?
Я.
Вы вообще за телефон доверия?
Я директор этого центра всего.
Всего. Ну а конкретно, потому что это все-таки служба, такой сектор.
Это подразделение большой службы. Оно делится так. У нас имеются анонимные кабинеты социально-психологической помощи, куда может любой человек с жизненными трудностями обратиться для разрешения их. Там будет и юрист, и консультант, социолог, и психолог, и психиатр, но не написано психиатр, психотерапевт. Вообще эта служба совершенно отделена. Мы
А
с
как
вами
по
сейчас...
какому принципу вы отбираете людей?
Сейчас я расскажу. Красивый кризисный стационар. Вообще он 13-й в
Красивый,
мире.
You go to telecommunications mode.
Красивый под всем видом проводимой терапии.
Не дай бог отойсали.
Нет, туда нет.
You put these
Имейте в виду, именно так. Это открыто. Он красив по своему содержанию, потому что люди после самоубийства там не повторяют. Если они делают повторно попытки, вероятность которых первые полгода примерно 50%.
I press number 4, which says terminal, and that automatically connects me to the computer. Then I go through a series of passwords and little rituals, and then I'm connected to computers all over the world.
Не больные, а пациенты.
This is what I want to do here next month.
Все это очень представлено в таком виде хорошего санатория.
Yes, you
Новое,
can do it even
совершенно
more
новое.
easily through Western
Единственное,
Union.
в
That's what I'm going
Советском
to use this
Союзе
for.
вот такой мы
Western
построили
Union
на
now
базе
has
20-й
a
городской больницы. Вот вы, поэты, будете мне
connecting system called EasyLink.
А?
It's a service you subscribe to. And they give you a phone number to call. So basically you can turn this into a telex machine.
Тоже неплохая вещь, при условии, если
It's fantastic because you can send to that number and then the party that you're sending it to is connected directly. Messages from Western Union. You call in telecommunications, and the first question that it asks you when you get on the computer is, "What happened, Chuck?" The operators in Moscow told us it was in the U.S. Both lines went dead. Yeah, we tried the other line and it went dead at the same time.
I didn't know, so I went to call back to you and found out that you weren't there.
Well, we have a proposal that actually it's not in your domain to make a decision, but Evtушенко is, although he's not a long-range planner, can probably be persuaded to go on the television space bridge on Friday. Kim Spencer arrived in Moscow yesterday, I believe. Here's Joseph.
I want you to talk a few words to Евтушенко.
Is the show over now?
Yeah.
Jack Walton. Jack Walton.
Hello. What is shit storm over the ocean or what?
I promised you we'd do the next one later, sir.
Okay. Never be tired.
I'm very, very sorry that we didn't get a chance to talk to you. We had numerous requests from people who wanted to hear your voice, and we called for you earlier and just didn't get a chance to get back. But it's a pleasure to talk with you, sir, and thank you very much for coming to our meeting.
Hey, can he take something now?
Okay.
Joe,
Yeah.
have him take something.
Chuck,
Yes,
do you have a tape recorder handy?
yes, I do.
Okay, turn it on and talk to Evtушенko because you can use it a little bit on the next show.
It's coming up.
That's empty. It's not that.
And tell to call up loud to include all us.
You've got about 50,000 people calling over there to hear you.
Why don't you just do a lot of people wanted to hear him, and you can tape it, there'll be lots of requests for it, and just do a real brief
Have it in
interview.
reserve. Give them something.
Okay?
Yes, hold on.
Сейчас он запишет интервью с вами. И он, когда будет монтировать программу потом, включит тебя.
Chuck?
May I say something first?
Yes.
That we receive literally thousands and thousands of phone calls of people who merely wanted to enter their thoughts and ideas and questions into our data bank, which we will be very happy to share with you people there. And I haven't had a chance to hear any of these calls yet, but just know that the American people have responded in full force to the Global Town Meeting and to your participation.
Chuck, I appreciate that, but we're getting static on the line again, and before we lose it, here's Evtушенko.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello, so you are deeply disappointed as I hear.
I am deeply disappointed.
But it was a good beginning. I think it was a fruitful attempt.
Mr. Evtушенko, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions for our audiences for the future, and I am in the process of recording these comments, and they will be broadcast at some point throughout the United States. And I'd like to ask you to comment, if you would please, sir, on how you important.
I just came back from Volgograd. It's new name of Stalingrad. And so, unfortunately, first time I was over there, so I saw this wounded earth full of rusted bullets, shrapnels, when nobody knows how many people were killed over there. Probably about 1 million on both sides. So I saw one street light. It's a very rusty one, old-fashioned one. It was absolutely wounded with some bullet holes, shrapnel holes, but it's still standing up and giving light. So if that very old, wounded street light didn't give up, so how we could give up to continue speak each other? You understand what I mean? And I mean the role of literature is great in this exchange of opinions, because when, for instance, when some bastards, they could push buttons, for instance, it's easy for them because they do not see faces of peoples. So it's one of most terrible infernal danger. And so literature, it's one from few possibilities which gives to the people's possibility to see each other's faces. So in that moment of world danger, we must to improve exchange between writers, between composers, any kind of artists. So for instance, I was very glad to hear the voice of Paul Winter, wonderful musician who's very close to Mother Nature, who just came, who brought to America image of Lake Baikal, place when I was born, and so on. We mustn't be tired, we must be like this, wounded by stubborn street lights on the every corners of the world, in America, and so we have wonderful experience when we struggle against common enemy like a fascism almost 40 years ago. Next year is a year of celebration of our common victory, so probably that coming year will remind us. And I think that sometimes nothing could connect people more than feeling of one common enemy. We mustn't invent new Hitler for to be together against. But we have so many common enemies, like death, like world pollution, like this bloody fucking nuclear bomb, etc., etc. So they are our daily Hitlers around us, so we must be again together. That's my message to Americans.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
Did you get... I'm sorry for my broken English.
No, that's quite all right. And I'd like to invite you to participate in our meeting on February 10th, and I promise you a large time slot where we can talk with interested Americans and other Soviet people about conflict resolution and moving ahead progressively in this nuclear age. And many, many, many thanks from all of us in the United States for your participation here this morning in Moscow.
Look, Chuck, I would like to use this wonderful possibility to read even about 12 lines of my poetry. What do you think about it?
I think that's an excellent idea. Do you have one with you?
Huh?
Do you have a poem with you?
Of course, I've always had my poetry with me, inside me, around me, etc. Okay, we'll try. I would like to be born in every country, have a passport for them all to throw the foreign office into a panic, be every fish in every ocean, and every dog in the streets of the world. I don't want to bow down before any idols or play a being a Russian Orthodox Church hippie, but I would like to plunge deep into Lake Baikal and surf a snorting somewhere, why not in Mississippi? I would like to be every man, but not at the, and I would like happiness, but not at the expense of the unhappy. And I would like freedom, but not at the expense of the unfree. It's my additional political message. Again, I apologize for my very weak, arrogant Siberian English. Thank you.
Hello?
Are you there?
Yes, this is Carol Rogers. Are you there? The poetry was so beautiful. Our recordings will be shared with many, many people all over the world and all of the people on the radio station who are listening to our program. And we thank you.
Okay, Carol, this is Joel speaking. Is Chuck handy?
Yes, he is. And could I leave one message very quickly for Velikov and Segdeya to tell them that we did share the cooperative venture list with the listeners, and we thank them. It was combined with a list from the American scientists, and that we look forward to their participation on the next town meeting radio show.
Okay.
And that is an official invitation. Thank you very much, and here's Chuck.
Hello? Chuck, can we make arrangements to speak later in the day when we've had a little sleep and some food and try to evaluate this? Secondly, let me ask you if you'd contact National Public Radio in Washington, D.C. I think they should do some live interviews direct by telephone to Moscow, and I think it's a perfect opportunity to play the tape that you just recorded. National Public Radio has an obligation to carry it today or tomorrow. I don't think there's any reason that really can't be put together considering who you had on this program.
Absolutely.
Want to do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here's Joseph with another minor challenge.
Chuck,
Yes, Joseph.
look, within few hours, Joel and I will start working with Kim Spencer to make Evtушенко and all we lost to be compensated on the space bridge morning 14th of December. So I invite you to contact Dr. Lam, who is now in the air between Budapest and America. He will land very soon, and he is ready to work. So it's a real challenge for you to take part, to announce, as we scripted together with Dr. Lam, this global town meeting essence, what Carol Rosen and many other people shared with each other, as a positive vision of future. And also, if by the time of the space bridge, you'll have a collection of those thousands of phone calls, so you have a special documents to share with TV viewers in this country and everywhere what happened.
Yes, that's an excellent idea. Can we talk later today?
Yes.
After you've had a chance to sleep, why don't I call you at our normal time tomorrow?
I mean, tomorrow today.
It's nighttime there.
That I would call you at 10 o'clock, California time, 9 o'clock in the evening your time.
Yeah.
Today.
Where is
Yes, coming.
Here's John Nikolopulos' home number, as usual. John Nikolopulos, and also, if necessary, to use his telex.
Yes.
Because, Chuck, it's incredible that information you are gathering right now from the listeners and phone calls. I used to talk by prayer line with Natasha, and she shared with me a lot of admiration, and because of this, she's just described physically what computers were reading, thousands and thousands of entries. So please, it's a chance for you, standing in a hand with the Global Town Meeting posture which you created, just make it larger, and that's it. And to describe that what happened, it's a real message. And Kim Spencer will be convinced to do it, and probably will bring him to the program to talk to you. So we expect to call 9 o'clock p.m. this evening, and John Nikolopoulos will share something with you.
Hey, Chuck.
Hi, John.
Hey, congratulations. I think it went pretty well in spite of the little hitch there. Listen, I just wanted to second what Joel said about National Public Radio. I think it's very, very important that you should try to latch on to them. And I was going to suggest that after Евтушенko's, you could probably use my tape that you have there.
Sure.
It would make it a more complete package out of Moscow.
Very definitely, and we'll put that together tonight, present it to NPR first thing tomorrow morning.
Great, and we'll be expecting your call at 9 our time in the evening.
John,
Place, okay?
thank you very much.
Yeah, this is a tremendous experience for us all here. And thank
I
you
hope
for
so.
setting it up. Here's Joel. Here's Joel. One final word, Chuck. You there?
Yeah.
It's as normal to be here as it is to be in Los Angeles. You ought to come to Moscow.
On my way.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.
Nice spot.
All right.
Браво. Благодарить. Это все на благо.
Рад, что встретился с людьми.
Когда?
Да хоть сейчас, вон двойная же, их хватка.
Сейчас нет.
Потом. А, вторая не
Когда
было.
хочешь.
Как работать нужно, а он будет никогда читать.
Ну, сегодня отдохнем, вечером. 7-8 часов, пожалуйста.
Профессиональных соображений сочнее.